So President Biden is now being called an international disaster, and I want to explain why. First off, what you need to understand is that what President Biden is saying and what President Biden is doing are two different things. Now, I could go over dozens of different stories and tell you what's happening, what's going on, and what President Biden has been saying, but I'm not going to do that. Today, I specifically want to touch on what is going on over in Gaza, because what's happening in Gaza and this fight for additional assistance and aid for Ukraine, this is now coming back to bite President Biden. Okay, this is extremely important because we are less than 1 year away from this presidential election, which President Biden is going to be running in. Okay, he's campaigning for this. So here's where things are at right now. President Biden, first off, says he stands behind Israel. And he does. He really wants to support Israel, support Benjamin Netanyahu. He wants to stand there and show that, yes, we are allies. However, this is concerning to many people across the world. Other leaders are asking, how can somebody stand behind a country that is parading half-naked men around the city? Now, you may have seen these images, you may have seen these videos. I wish I could show you. Well, I don't wish I could show you them, but if I showed you these, you would know exactly what I'm talking about and how this is disgraceful. Okay? Because, and again, men are tied up, they're blindfolded, they're kneeling down, and they're in nothing but underwear. And other people across the world leaders are asking, how can we condone this? And President Biden has been very silent on that matter. Many are asking, how does this even pertain to war? This is not a negotiation tactic. How does this pertain to war? But it doesn't stop there. The United States has also vetoed the United Nations resolution demanding a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. This just happened the other day, where the United States stood up and they vetoed this resolution. But how could the United States do this when the United States at the same time is asking Congress to pass billions of dollars in additional funding for Ukraine, for Israel, and humanitarian aid for Gaza? This is why some are saying that President Biden is just deceiving his own party. He's lying to the American people. He's lying to people in other countries because it doesn't look like this additional aid is even coming. So what do we do here? Well, here's what the United Nations chief told the UN Security Council. He told them that Gaza is at its breaking point. It's at a breaking point with humanitarian aid at risk because it could completely collapse. Right now, and this is the tough part, and I've been watching videos, I've been reading different articles, listening to some of the people that are actually on the ground. They are saying, we are seeing trucks pull in to certain cities in Gaza. Trucks are pulling in civilians who are at their breaking point, aren't waiting for the supplies to get to their end point. They are jumping on the truck as it slows down to make turns. They're jumping on the truck and they're throwing boxes out to their families. Throwing boxes off a moving truck that is speeding through the city, trying to deliver humanitarian goods to, the people. But the problem is, in many cases, it's not even getting there. This is something that we have heard before, and this is why the United States vetoed the United Nations resolution, is because they're saying if we provide a ceasefire, that's going to provide additional benefits and assistance, not to Israel, not to the people of Gaza, but It's going to provide a boost to Hamas. So where we're at right now is, how much aid do we provide? When do we provide it? And how do the people get it? Because we do not want to send additional aid packages to Hamas, where they are taking them, and they are taking them underground or taking them back to their own homes and their bunkers. That's not what we want. We want the aid packages going to the people that need it. That being said, as the Israeli troops started working their way into the south, what started to happen was Israel started to designate certain areas, and they called those their safe zones. Okay? So great. They have a safe zone. Perfect. Here's the problem. Is it really a safe zone if, one, there's no buildings? They are putting up makeshift tents. Some of the tents don't even have all the sides covered. It is now getting colder in Gaza. It's colder. It's wet. It is getting somewhat windy. And people don't even have sides to their tents. Not only that, they aren't hitting the area with missiles. That's good. But some say it's just a matter of time. Because as Hamas starts to get pulled out of hiding and they get pushed into different areas, they are going to overlap with the civilians. As they do, Israel will hit those areas with missiles. So sending all these displaced civilians into an area they're calling a safe zone, yeah, it sounds great, but is it really safe? According to a few people on the ground, they're saying that there's no bathrooms, there's no running water, they're living in makeshift tents, and humanitarian groups and aid are nowhere to be found. Nowhere. So now the U.S. is being told that Israel, they're telling Israel that they need to provide more humanitarian aid. They need to provide more support. They need to provide protection to civilians. That's what the United States is telling Israel. However, Israel has not done a single thing to provide additional protection. They're not doing what the United States is asking. They're not doing what other world leaders are asking. Which brings up the question: how can we continue to provide support and additional assistance to a country that is not even going to listen to what we have to say? Not saying that the United States has the last word, and what the U.S. does and says is what every other country needs to do. Obviously, that's not going to be the case and never will be. But in this instance, how can we continue to push for $14.3 billion to Israel when Israel is treating the people and civilians the way that they are? Also, when it comes to funding for Gaza, where is it? Because all we've been hearing lately is we need additional funding for Ukraine. We need additional funding for Israel. What about the humanitarian aid? Right now, the Biden administration is putting that humanitarian aid in a $100 billion package that has a very little chance of passing. So, where do we go from here? Well, here's what I can tell you. Yes, humanitarian aid and civilians in Gaza are at their breaking point. Is the United States going to step up? I don't know. But this is what has many people saying that President Biden is an international disaster because of what he is saying, what he is doing, and then at the same time, he's fighting for another country. He's fighting for Israel. He's fighting for Ukraine. What about the people of the United States? What about the people of Gaza? What about all them? So right now, all I ask is, I have one question for you. You can answer down in the comment section below. Is this: have you heard lately? You turn on the news, you turn on YouTube or something. You'll hear on this channel, I've been talking a lot about the different aid packages, talking about where Congress has been, what they've been discussing, what they've been negotiating, and where they're lacking. But When you turn on the news, you turn on TikTok or anything, do you hear many good things coming out of the Biden administration? Or is it mostly bad things? Because according to experts, they are saying that if the Biden administration doesn't do more, doesn't do something for the American people soon, that President Biden will not win the next election, and Democrats will lose control of the Senate. So, just wanted to fill you in on what's going on at this time. That is what we know. But as always, as soon as I know more, I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Yes, you can probably see I am traveling today. We'll be traveling for the next couple days. Then I will be back. So I'll continue to update you guys on the road. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.